My name is Rixy, she, hers, and I will be painting this mural for the Transformative Art Project. So I'm from Roxbury, Latinx, Caribbean, Dominican, and Honduran family. Most of my background is mixing media, public art, a studio practice as well. Love to really create story worlds for inclusive, big, bold women. So the city created the Transformative Art Project, which had a bunch of different chapters of different public art calls and mural calls. So with the Rita Hester one, I just felt very empowered to be part of that message and that narrative, and felt like we could just make something really great happen with all of that love. As a public artist and a muralist, I want to take on big walls, big projects especially, be an impact in the city and do some stuff for our art scene here. Really try to challenge it and make it grow more. So I wanted to take this on because I was very confident in being able to keep growing, evolving in my own journey, but also do something for Boston. I think we need a lot of work, and I want to really help that. So I have bits of the final design. It's all digital work. Kind of created this at home for a little bit and sketched it out. It's never going to be like the final. Like, I love adding so much more once I'm on the wall. But really it has all these little pieces of who Rita is, considering the symbolism of her glamour, her fashion, her makeup, and her performance, and exuberant personality, as well within the trans community and the queer community, thinking about the colors that represent different things to really amplify their stories and their narratives. A lot of times I'm creating characters that represent my community, but not exactly one person. Like, I'm not like, this character is this person. So oftentimes I'm trying to create my own imaginative character to represent a voice. So with this, it's very different because this is history. This is a real moment that has happened. There are people that are personally connected to Rita, whereas I've only known of this story or known of Rita in most recent years or recent times. So it's a lot different because this is a real situation and a real story versus my made up stories and my like cartoonizing, you know? So it's cool because it's like I get to blend a style with history. So the design of the mural, I mean, there was some probably initial researching just on the story a little more, trying to do what I can, so I'm like very on the same page as the community and for the folks that put out the call. But some of the first steps in actually doing the designing was talking to the family members, also talked to different working groups that are part of the different communities, so LGBTQIA+ communities, trans, non-binary community members, especially like within the city and around different chapters and stuff. But it was between the family and those community groups. And then from there, I just listened to them, thought about all the feelings that they had, what they were passionate about, and put all this in a pot pretty much and just like mixed it up. Allston is where Rita lived and was from, but this was her area, this was her community. Not far from here are the places that she would go to often, like the Model Cafe. There's a lot of community members, all without Boston, but especially in this community that do represent a lot of what she represents. So it's important to put this here right now so it's seen, so it's relevant and present where she was, and that we don't forget what she was standing for. I also think it's very interesting because the climate of the world and the politics is just so relevant. Like, we're dealing with a lot of like injustice against women, especially trans women and queer folks and non-binary folks. And with the education system. So it's just really interesting and ironic that everything is lining up and that this is just the place where it's supposed to be, so all of those worlds can cross and, again, like make a bigger voice. It was really nice to really feel a sense of community with everybody trying to make this happen. Like, everybody was very passionate, really wanted to see this go well. I didn't feel like a tool, like just being used to create work, but I got to actually be involved in having these discussions, presenting, asking questions. So it was really important to me that it was intentional and thought out, how we all like came together and had conversations. I'm hoping that this mural, aside from it just being a cute little wall, pretty little wall, that it does a lot more conversationally, and in terms of making people feel a lot more safer and excited to be themselves in a lot of ways. There's so much that we need in this city. It's not just about seeing these walls happen, but the people that are involved, the fact that we want to see so much representation and empowering work for different voices, especially of color, especially of so many different backgrounds like Rita's, like mine, like the people that are part of these groups and the working groups. So it's just important to not only support making these things happen for there to be action that follows that. Like, okay, now that this is up, how are we creating more space and love for other people? You know, like, are we just doing this just cause, or are we actually doing this to make things safer and better in our communities and our cities? And Boston being so old, Boston being based off of tradition and certain roots, I think this work means even more here because it's about kind of dismantling a lot of that old practice and thought process.
Look to me, my family, and do not despair, for I am with you when you are lost and when you are in fear. I see the battles that you fight with only a slim chance to win. The world around you, oblivious to your hurt. The world around you, immersed in sin. I see the tears overwhelming in your eyes. I feel your pain. I sense your sorrow. I know today feels bitter and grim, but look for me tomorrow. I am there in your hearts, in the shallows of your soul. I am there in your innocence, and there when you are old. Look to me, my children, and know that I care. Know I am a force, and I will always be near. Be strong, my beautiful family. Never let your spirit bend. This is not your final destiny, for in the light awaits a friend. Find peace and solace in this life, and throughout your hardships cope. For in the end, the final end, you will be with me once again. In the Eternal Portrait of Hope by Princess Rita Hester.